I'm Ilka Cassidy for the Passive House Accelerator, and I am in Austria, in Innsbruck, for the International Passive House Conference. And it's always really great to meet up and talk to people around the world to learn about what they do to deal with their climate-specific challenges. So this week we're going to go to Ireland and see how Partel is using their technology to figure out how to build climate-resilient wall assemblies in their location.
In Ireland, when we look at weather and its influence in construction, we've got a pretty unique location. We're right on the Atlantic coast, and that has always brought challenges. So roughly 100 years ago, people started to build with about a 4-inch or a 2-inch cavity, so essentially a large drainage plane. So a really blunt way of dealing with additional water that found its way outside the outer layer. When we talk about how we're building now compared to 100 years ago, we're changing to offsite construction really quickly in Ireland. We've got an incredible labour shortage. We've also acknowledged that the quality control is much easier to maintain and progress in a factory setting. So at the moment, it's maybe the biggest change in construction in Ireland. There's real engagement with government to focus on how we're building. There's a significant amount of social housing needed, and that social housing has started to be designed to suit either 2D or 3D modular or panelised construction. Essentially, the government is supporting the growth of the modular industry. So it's a really big change. That's supporting all kinds of different construction, be it light gauge steel, 2D timber frame. Really everything is kind of on the table right now. There is a big focus and a weight on natural construction using timber materials. In terms of how houses are produced, we are at about 50 to 60% timber frame right now. That's been growing really rapidly. The offsite or the modular construction element is about 60 to 70% in total. And that's a pretty big change from traditional construction, which was cavity wall, block work construction or masonry. In terms of how the modular construction is happening in Ireland, you've got really large timber frame factories that produce 2D panels. They can produce, some of them or some companies, between 1,000 and 3,000 units per year. That could be some factories doing 40 units a week or 80 units a week. Their quality control is really high, capable of getting airtightness down to 1, U values, typically 0.14. So really good, repeat, high quality systems. Then in the property we're in right now, it's being built by Irish Eco Homes. They're a smaller, more ecological timber frame company. Again, really good quality in all aspects, but you do find that the airtightness here will be as low as 0.6, and that's pretty typical for the smaller, higher quality offsite builders. The project that we're looking at right now, it's in a place called Newquay in County Clare. It's relatively close to where I live at home, and part of this location and region is why Partel is now the way it is. So we're extremely focused on exterior ceiling because of the weather. This location and proximity to the Atlantic Ocean, and the fact that we have, in some locations close to here, some of the highest rainfall in the world. So we get this real test of building quality because of the constant weather condition. Essentially, it's either raining, or it's about to rain, or it's just finished raining. So it's a big thing in the west of Ireland. The region is beautiful. In the summer it's amazing, but in winter you do get really challenging weather. So it means that what we find in Ireland actually is the reason people like to build airtight, it's because of the wind. So that's the real driver in getting better building quality. It's not necessarily temperature. It's quite a mild climate. It's never too hot. It's never too cold. But we do need to control the air quality in our houses, and the air tightness and the wind tightness are the key reasons to do that. We come from an architecture engineering practice. That's where Partel was founded, and it's definitely technical design and technical product specifications. So for sure, WFI analysis and hydrothermal assessments of constructions are part of what we do, and that's a daily thing. And it's the same with how we look at the products. So we've got, you know, a smart or a variable or products that are a key part of the system, but they're not always needed. So this one here is a fixed SD membrane. It's quite vapor tight. On the outside, it's very vapor open. And for Ireland, that's a really good general way to build. The smart products are good when they're needed, but not always needed. So certainly at the start, when a country is starting to embrace airtightness, they might choose to use variable products in all cases. But when it starts to get to mainstream construction, efficiencies are needed and cost becomes a factor. So people stop using, let's say, over-technical products where they aren't needed. In Ireland, there's as there is everywhere, there's a new urgency that's happening with how we're looking at embodied carbon. For us, that means we've introduced environmental product declarations for all of our products, so we're being open about how they perform. We've got new products arriving where we can now produce this product with the same technical characteristics, but it's using 70% sustainably produced, essentially from wood sources. So it'll be a paper-based version of this product. So we're doing as much as we can. And then in terms of construction, what we find is that the requests for EPDs, so that people can calculate the embodied carbon of the project, that's new, and I would say there's a lot of learning to be done that needs to be quick, but definitely the awareness is coming. People are probably relying too much on the wrong types of insulation in this region. There's different reasons for that. That can be to do with fire tests. That can sometimes force people to use products that help with the fire test, or sometimes actually just have the test. And fire testing is very expensive, so it's not that easy to change always. But typically we see all of the same insulations that you see in all regions. So that cellulose insulation that's going to be used here. You've got rock wool types of products, you've got the fiberglass, you've got PIR, XPS and EPS. In timber frame construction, in Ireland it's most common that it's a fiberglass type product with some additional PIR. PIR is often used behind these battens to create a thermal break. Yeah, wood fibre is here, but all of the wood fibre in this region is produced in Germany or France. It's got quite a high carbon cost to get it to here. Ireland isn't that big and may not justify production of wood fibre on the island. So that's an issue, and I don't know if that'll become commercially available. So probably what we need to have here is a continued change in regulations where the embodied carbon of the building becomes a driver for material specifications, and that type of thing is happening at an EU level right now, and that'll filter through to all EU countries. So that's going to be, it's imminent for all of us. So we'll start to not just have an energy rating of the building, there'll start to be a carbon count of the building, and that kind of awareness should help people to change. And it's my experience that most construction companies want to use ecological. There's a real feel for that everywhere, and any of the funds that build houses, they've got shareholders, they've got the same requirement. They really want to change to more ecologically sound construction.